Richard's wondering what he walked into this morning as we welcome him in the morning rush. RD, you got a razor brand that you would recommend, and any house advice to
welcome to Bob Vila here
to keep the plumbing okay on the household?
This old house with Ty Richardson.
You don't hear too often about a house pipe bursting. When it's not weather related. That was I guess that was an old house.
I think it's decently old, but what the feedback
turn of a phrase.
Yeah, the feedback that he received that it had frozen since last winter, and apparently now the rooster's coming home to roost or whatever. I don't know. I was just confused.
What was that?
What I said, the rooster's coming home to roost?
Yeah, I was wondering who was roosting.
Just move on from that.
Maybe the chickens have come home.
Yeah, the chickens coming home to roost. That's probably the proper phrase to do that. But it was a little scary when he was talking to me about it. It's like, because he was giving me this advice that you have to do it. And Richard, I know that you've had a house for quite some time, and just lend a helping hand if you could.
Yeah, well, I mean, fortunately, our houses have been, on slabs, so that kind of eliminates most of the concerns. Our other house there, we had a little bit of a crawl space, so we had to keep things running when it was, 20 degrees or below, or I don't know, in the teens or whatever. But luckily, never had to face that because that's obviously a huge mess when you have a leak like that. So, our heart goes out to them.
Well, let's hope there's not a leak on the offensive line this coming Saturday night, Richard. That was one of the things Fernando Carmona Jr. talked about this week is just the defense that LSU possesses, especially getting to the quarterback where they're top 10 in the country. I wonder what confidence you think they can take away from their performance against Tennessee and maybe see some more offensive production on Saturday night, particularly on the line of scrimmage there.
I think it's huge. I mean, let's face it, usually in the past you'd have a veteran offensive line, which is this is not necessarily a veteran offensive line. It's got, you have some guys that are a little older and all that, but not veteran in the aspect that they played 3 or 4 years together. These guys have obviously just played, 6 games together. So at some point I figured that they would start clicking a little bit, knowing what each other would be doing in certain situations, and have confidence that I'm making. If you're Addison Nichols, you're making the call, blocking scheme calls, and you have the confidence that your guys are going to do what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And I think you saw that against Tennessee. You didn't see as many, broken assignments and stuff like that. And obviously, I thought they did a good job, just one-on-one against the defensive line. So I expected it at some point. I think it was a pleasant surprise they were able to do it against Tennessee because of the level of competition, and I think that ought to obviously give them a lot of confidence going forward. So, I just thought it was going to happen at some point, and evidently, things started to click against Tennessee. We'll see what happens on Saturday.
So you make a really good point there, and I think it's true with many teams and most programs across, not just football. You're going to see it in basketball coming up where, man, when you have a team that hasn't, it's a completely turned over roster, in football's case, 50% of the players, but probably a great majority of the players that actually play significant time are new to the program and new to their coaches and new to the communication, new to the terminology. It just takes a little longer for it to all come together. And
especially offensive line.
Especially offensive line, and especially a sport where you have 11 players on both sides of the ball. May happen a little faster in basketball. I think in football, it's taken a month or more into the season. And I don't think it's just Arkansas, Richard, you're seeing this from, and I think it's a byproduct of the portal.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it is definitely a big part of the problem is the portal, and you just don't have guys playing 3-4 years together. I mean, some schools may have that, but the majority of schools probably don't, and that's where really a good offensive line coach comes in. And I think Eric Mateos' track record kind of speaks for itself. And then obviously you got Coach Pittman, who O-line coach. So I think that's helped. And I think you got guys that are good quality offensive linemen who have the football IQ to be able to soak everything in and execute what they're asked to do. And again, it just took several games, and maybe they take a step forward on Saturday, or maybe they take a step back. Obviously, if you're an Arkansas fan, you hope they take a step forward.
One of the offensive linemen you'd like to have down the road at some point is Carius Kern, who's currently committed to LSU. And we talked about Lance Jackson, Landon's little brother, Pleasant Grove, currently committed to Texas. He was in the house for the Tennessee game. Richard, any idea if Carius is coming in this weekend, or any other Arkansas in-state kids that are maybe committed elsewhere, or just notable guys that you've maybe gotten responses from?
As of last night, I had not heard about Kern thinking about visiting. I think he told somebody in the interview that he didn't plan on visiting anybody other than LSU. But Arkansas is not going to quit trying to recruit him. There's no doubt about that. I mean, if somehow they're able to beat LSU on Saturday, it may open the door a little bit. And you do not give up on him, because he is a guy that could potentially play. And I don't say this, and I think I've been on with you guys long enough. I don't say this very often with a freshman on the offensive line, but that guy could potentially play right off the bat in the SEC as a freshman. That's how good he is, in my opinion. So you continue to recruit him until the end, until he signs on the dotted line. You just don't give up on him.
You were talking about offensive lineman with Tommy. I listened to Landon Jackson last night, and his freshman roommate has been a starter since his freshman year, still at LSU, still on offensive line that's only allowed 2 sacks to Nussmeier so far this year. I wonder your thoughts, Landon kind of being vindicated for coming back, getting that win against Tennessee, and then what he and his fellow defensive linemen and linebackers have to face this coming Saturday.
Well, you got to give Landon a lot of credit just from the standpoint, even though he is leading the team with 4.5 tackles for losses. Maybe not exactly where he wants to be stat-wise, but at the same time, man, he's being double-teamed a lot. And in the Tennessee game, I tried to watch him and isolate him several times, and most of the time he was being double-teamed, and he was creating havoc with those guys. He got a face mask penalty from one of the offensive linemen because he was hard to handle, and then obviously he made some plays too. But he's still demanding a double team, and scouts are paying attention to that. So I don't think that he's necessarily having a bad year or anything like that. He's just being shown the proper respect that he deserves, because he's a heck of a guy one-on-one going against a tackle. And and I didn't realize until the last day or two about LSU's protection, as far as pass pro. Good gosh, only allowed 2 sacks this year. That's incredible. You got to give them a lot of credit there. That's something you just don't see. And it'd be interesting if Arkansas can. The main thing, if they can't get to the quarterback, put some pressure on the quarterback and make him uncomfortable. That's the key there. Yeah. If you don't stack him. And then I also didn't realize that LSU, the quarterback, only hit 43% against Ole Miss of his passes the other night. Man, if you owed a quarterback to 43%, you're feeling pretty good about yourself about winning the game, and obviously LSU won the game. So credit to them. He made the right passes at the right time to win the game.
Yeah, and Pittman spoke to this on Monday when given that number you just referenced with the 2 sacks, and not only do you give the line credit, but you give Nussmeier credit because he gets the ball out quick. He goes through his progressions and reads quick, as Coach was talking about. So, we're quick to blame an offensive line when the sack numbers seem too high, but also the quarterback shares responsibility in it, just like he was getting some of the accolades when talking about that. So that's what makes it hard. That's also what makes it hard, but also, you got to bring that back home and put it in reference to your own program when you think things aren't going as well as they should, that it's not all on the line, or, should give the line all the praise when the numbers are good.
No, Coach Bittman's kind of hit on that, previously, that not all the pressures or the sacks or whatever on Talon was on the offensive line. He needed to get the ball out a little quicker and make quicker decisions, and that's the one thing the LSU quarterback is able to do, and that's something that Talon was able to do against Tennessee. He played much better, obviously, and so. You got to give the LSU quarterback a lot of credit there. I mean, I agree with you. I was watching the Ole Miss game, and I was impressed with his decision making. Obviously, he wasn't as accurate as you'd probably like, just hitting 43%. But again, he hit the right passes at the right time in order for them to win.
Richard, we'll leave it there, man. We appreciate you giving us some thoughts on this Arkansas football team, a little recruiting, and even some house advice here on this What's Your Beef Wednesday. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, my man. We'll see you guys.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.